Hello and welcome to our fourth bonus edition of Cracking the Cryptic during self-isolation time. We're trying to do one extra video a day where we can, normally on a classic Sudoku, and we're going to try this one now. Now this has an interesting provenance. It's from Dean Mayer, who is quite famous in the world of crosswords. He's one of the best constructors of cryptic crosswords in the world, writes under the pseudonym Anax often. And I always enjoy his puzzles. He's a fantastically innovative setter, and he sets puzzles that are challenging. They always have something crafty about them. So I'm a big fan of his crosswords, and yesterday he sent us this Sudoku, which he made. He says he made it a few years ago. Says it's not easy, but it involves no techniques that the Times wouldn't accept. Now, the Times newspaper, the hardest Sudokus that it publishes are super fiendish puzzles, and I don't think they allow swordfishes, but I'm not sure. They certainly allow X-wings and hidden triples, stuff like that. So it should be a good challenge. You can see it's a beautiful looking construction, four-way symmetry in the grid. If you want to have a go, and I do recommend it, click on the link under the video to play the puzzle. Now the other thing, just to mention, a heads up, we've been working on puzzle hunt puzzles. So I now have two draft puzzle hunts, one for sort of teenagers and one for adults. Now they should be appearing in the next day or two. I'm not sure quite where I'm going to post them yet, whether I'm going to post them on YouTube or on Twitter or on Patreon. In fact, if they are on Patreon, they won't be behind the paywall. They will be free. So it's more food for thought during these difficult, trying times. So more on that soon, but let's have a look at this. How are we going to solve this? I can put a 7 in there. That's what we can do. That gives us a couple of 7s at the bottom of the grid. Eights into these two positions. These 2s interact on this box, look. So there can't be 2s in any of those squares, so we get to pencil marks from 2s. Same with 3s on the other side. Seeing a great deal else. 9s we can put into one of those squares. No, I really am not seeing much else. Okay. Okay, right. So, thinking caps on. So I'm scanning the grid here, trying to spot anything that we can get a handle on. So there are some weak squares, like this square here. You can see there's a 1, 2, 3 in the column, and 4 different numbers in the row. So this square can only be a 5 or a 9. That's interesting, isn't it? So the symmetrical counterpart to this restricted cell would be this restricted cell, and this cell is also restricted to just 2 digits. That's got to be a 6 or a 7. Right. Ah, yes. Okay. So there is an X-wing on 2s. So if we now look at this top row and ask where a 2 can go, this 2 here forces the 2 into one of those 2 squares. Now, if we look at the bottom row of the grid, the 2 can't go here because of this 2. Can't go here. It can't go here because of these 2 pencil marks that we managed to get early on. So the 2 is also locked into those 2 squares. Now, so what does this mean? For those of you who aren't familiar with X-Wings, they're quite simple, but everyone thinks they're complicated. They're just not, once you've had them explained to you properly. So if we look at row 1 and row 9, you can see that for both of these rows, the 2 is locked into one of 2 positions. And in fact, these 2 positions that the 2s could go into are in identical columns of the grid. So there are only 2 possible scenarios that could exist when we look at the finished solution to this puzzle. We could see a 2 in this square. And if we saw a 2 in this square in the finished solution, we know for certain there would also be a 2 here. Because in row 9 there are only 2 positions. If it can't be in this one because there's a 2 here, it must be in this square. So this forms one limb of the X. If we joined the centre of this square to the centre of this square, we would have the starting point of an X. Now, the only other situation that could exist when we look at the finished solution to this puzzle is that the 2 is not here, in which case it would have to be here, because we know it's only in one of 2 positions in row 1. But if it's here, it can't be here, therefore, in row 9, so it would have to be here, and we get the other limb of the X. So this is the basic pattern. What does it mean? Well, in either of those situations, you could see there was either a 2 here or there was a 2 here. Similarly, in column 8, there was either a 2 here or 2 here. So there is no way for a 2 to exist in any of those squares. We can eliminate 2 from all of these squares. So is that helpful? Let's try and see if there are any restricted squares as a result of that. I've got to say, to be honest, I'm not seeing a great deal. I really am not seeing a great deal. I mean, this square here has got to be 3, 4 or 6, I think. So this square can't be 2, so that can be 3, 4. Can't be 3, 4 or 8. This one can't be 2, so it can be 3, 4. 3, 4 or 6 again. Can't be 7, 8 or 9. And this one can be loads of things, because there's nothing in the rows to limit it. So this can be anything of 5 digits, I think. And down here, oh, I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. Sorry, guys. Look, there is another X-Wing here on 3s. So this is a very, very beautiful setup at the start. We've got the 2s here, limiting the positions of the 2s in row 1 and row 9. But the 3 works in exactly the same way. Look, these 3s here restrict these 2 positions from being a 3. So we can now do this again. Let's delete the X-Wing on 2s here. Let's go back to normal colours and look at row 1 and where the 3s can go. The 3 can go here and here. And look at row 9, where can the 3s go? The 3 can go here and here. So there is a 2 and a 3 X-Wing. Now, this is beautiful for many reasons, but the most important reason is going to be that now we can use exactly the same logic on the 2s to say that there must be a 3 either in this square or this square, and therefore, looking down this column, look, we can eliminate 3 from all of those squares. That gives us a 4-6 pair and locks us in with an 8 there. Wow, wow, wonderful. Now, the other interesting thing, I'll just pause here before we go further. We're going to be able to get this digit, I can see that now, is to think about where you have overlapping X-wings, the cells in which they overlap. These two cells here. Now, these two cells have to be a 2-3 pair. And we can work that out for ourselves by thinking about how the 3's look. We know that the 3 is either in this position in the finished solution or in this position. So if it's here, we know this will be a 3 down there. But if this is 3, we know that 2 could only go in 2 positions in row 9. It will have to be over in this square, which means this square would be a 2. So in situation 1, which is where this is a 3, we end up with a 3 here and a 2 here. And you can quickly prove to yourself that if the 3 was here, on the other hand, obviously the 2 would have to be here because the 2 is going to be there. So these two squares, where you get an overlapping X-wing, you can actually write in a pair in the column. Now, so what do we get from that? We got this 8, which means it means this is an 8. And it means there's an 8 in one of these two squares. And it means this square must be a 7, because it can't be a 2 or a 3, because by the X-wing logic, well, for A, we've just proved that these two squares are a 2 or a 3, but if you run through the X-wing logic, obviously 2 and 3 can't go in this square. So, what do we get as a result of this? Well, we do get something. We get 7s and 8s are restricted. Yes, they are restricted in this column. Where can 7s and 8s go? Can't go here, can't go here, can't go here, and can't go here. So the 7 and the 8 in column 7 can only go into those two squares. Now that effectively gives us 5 digits, look, in this column now. So we've got 1, 2 and 3. We know the 7 and the 8 go into those two squares, so we need 4, 5, 6 and 9. So that 6 is useful. Gosh, that's hard to see. For some reason my scanning didn't work properly there. But this 6 must be shifted down to that square, because it can't go up there, can't go there. So that's a 6. That means one of these two squares is a 6. These squares here have got to be 4, 5 or 9, therefore. Sorry about this, just 1 second. I need to spot something else. Wow. Still not spotting anything. We've already done quite a lot of good logic on this puzzle, so I mean, if this was the quality of the puzzles that the Times produced every day, that would be a delight. Oh, Yes, okay, so now look at this box. We've got 7, 8, 4 here, 7, 8, 4 here. So these squares are a 7, 8, 4 triple. Good. Wow. Okay, and that gives us a triple in row 2 on 4, 7 and 8, and that fixes that this is a 6. Whoa. Whoa, that is hard. 6. So now this is a 6. Now hopefully we'll get a bit more. This is a 4 now. This isn't a 4. Now we've got a 5, 9 pair, so this is a 4. This is a 4 because of the 4 down at the bottom. This is a 4. And all of a sudden we've made a bit of headway. So there's a 4 in one of those two squares. 4 in one of these two squares. Seven is locked into one of those two squares, look, in this box. So this must be an 8. That's a 7. Therefore this is an 8 over on this side. And this is a 7 down here because of this 7. That fixes that that's an 8 and that's a 7. This is now a, now we're starting to get somewhere. Now these 7s interact. That's a 7 and that's a 4. The 4s are nearly done now. We've just got 2 boxes where 4s are still unfinished. This must be an 8, look, from the earlier pencil marking. We've done all the 8s. We've done all the 7s. Haven't yet done all the 6s, so let's look at those. There's a 6 in one of those two squares, which means this is a 6. This is a 6 now because of the 6 here. That gives us a 4. That resolves the 4s. What a puzzle. Wow. Okay, so 4s. 6 is down here. Look, that's got to be a 6. That is useful because this 6 has now interrupted our X-wing on 3s. So as soon as we get this, we know that the 3 must be in this square, and therefore that must be a 3 as well, and therefore this must be a 2, and this must be a 2. And now I'm just going to remove the highlighting so I don't get hung up on that. This has got to be a 2. There's a 3 in one of these two squares because of these 3s, so they form a 2-3 pair. So we still need 1, 5 and 9 in this column, look. This square can't be a 9, so that's a 1 or a 5. 9 is shifted upwards. This is a 5-9 pair. I don't think we can resolve that yet. So we've got this 5-9 pair as well. These two squares have got to be 3 and 9. So what next? This square's got that the central row. We need a 1 and a 5, and the 5 hidden down there means this is the 1. So that's a 5 over on that side. That must be a 9 now. This must be a 1. This is a 5. This is a 1. Get rid of the pencil marked 7. This has got to be a 5. That fixes the 9 and the 5 over here. This has got to be a 9 now. This should be a 3. That looks like it's working. That fixes a 2-3 pair over on this side. We've got lots of 2-3 pairs in this grid. These two squares have got to be 1 and 5, which is resolvable. These two squares have got to be, we still need a 5 in this block, so 5 and 2, look. These two squares have got to be 3 and 9. So 3, 9, 3, 9, 2, 3. This has got to be a 2 or a 9. Still not pencil mark 9s into this box. So let's have a look. Where should we look now? Ah, the 2, 3, of course. I mean, this square here is fixed. It can't be a 2. So that's got to be a 9 because of the 3 there. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. So that's a 9. That fixes the 9 and the 3, which will resolve the 3 and the 2. We need a 1 in one of these squares as well as a 5. We can fix that now. That fixes the 1 here. 2, 6, 9, 9, 3, 3, 2. Yeah, there you go. What a beautiful puzzle, Dean. That was lovely. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments as always, and we'll be back soon with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.